Hey everyone, welcome back to the KLT Fitcast. My name is Kate. This is my husband Josh. Today we are so excited to have in studio two guest speakers. Okay, so we have two guests in studio today. This is essentially part two of a three-part series. Last episode we talked about the female cycle, the things that we deal with, how to navigate that, and how that relates to your strength training. Today we're going to talk about pregnancy and postpartum with Allie and Shelby. Very familiar faces around the gym, in studio, have been long-time boot campers. I actually know, so Shelby, you were like one of the first people to reach out about boot camp, even before this brick and mortar gym. As soon as I was like, I think I'm not going to go back to the school board. Does anybody want to do boot camp? You were like, yeah, I'm in. So like right from the OG. Before you guys introduce yourselves, I just want to share something that I love about my job. And obviously there's a buttload of things that I love, but I get to be the secret holder of so many secrets when it comes to people who are newly pregnant. I feel like aside from maybe the partner in the equation, I get to be the next to know.
And then I get to know after that?
Yes. Secret. I will go home and tell Josh, like, oh my God.
And I say, who?
So that's really special to me. And it's always kind of funny if I know that someone is like newly pregnant and they've told me, I will always say, we just have to make some eye contact. No one else has to know, but if you're feeling uncomfortable with anything, like just shoot me a look and we quietly like change something. But I will say, from my perspective as a coach and a trainer, I don't believe that a ton has to change. Maybe you guys can tell me otherwise, but in terms of what happens here, obviously some things are going to feel very different when you have a literal human. I'm thinking about like hamstring curls. That was a no-go. Lay on this machine. But otherwise, most things can still happen. Obviously, we're more careful, and just like all of the people who come here to work out, they know their body best. Just like when you guys were carrying babies, you know your body's best. Josh, I know your body better than you do, especially when it comes to the gym. Not in a sick way. I just mean it when it comes to the gym.
Sure.
So I think, yeah, to start, why don't you guys each like introduce yourselves, tell us about you, your family, and then we can dive into some more rapid fire-ish questions.
Sure.
Okay, go. Don't forget to use your loud voices. Make that thing.
You don't have to do that.
I'll go first. Okay, sure. So I'm Allie, and I had a little baby girl named Briar in September, the end of September, the very last day. And my husband's name is Eric. This is our first baby. And I have been coming to the gym. I was like thinking about this in the car because I was like, when I got pregnant, it had been about 1.5 years that I had been coming.
Yeah. You were on that friggin' 5 a.m. wait list for
a long time. I had told Kate, because Shelby and I are actually good friends from work, and we worked with Kate before she started the gym. And so I knew about the gym and I knew about boot camp and I'd heard about it, but I was just kind of like waiting until I felt ready to do it, but also until there was space for me, which like 5 a.m. is pretty coveted little spot. So when I got in, it was exciting and that was great. But before the gym and even during when I started coming to boot camp, I would say I have a pretty active lifestyle. Lots of like cycling and running and just walking and generally being outside. Not a ton of sport, but I recently started curling, a little bit of downhill skiing in my past, cross country skiing in the wintertime too. Yeah, I love swimming. So I was pretty active prior to becoming pregnant, but yeah, it totally was a new ball game. Entered into that, but I'll let Shelby introduce herself.
Sure. I'm Shelby. I also have a daughter. Her name is Sadie. So she was born 2.5 weeks early. So she was born about mid-November. My husband's name is Rob. And yeah, like Allie said and Kate said, I've been with Kate since the very beginning, since the old gym. Yeah, and it was originally, I think, evening classes.
Yeah, that's all there was. I think it was a couple months when I actually put mornings in.
Yeah, and Kate pitched the wild idea, like, would anybody actually want to 5 a.m. and like, yeah, sure. And that has, I think, become the most coveted spot.
Yeah.
Still, right?
100%.
Yeah. So much like Allie, I was also pretty active before pregnancy. I love camping. We're going camping this week. Lots of hiking, running and whatnot, and yeah, winter sports as well. Usually, my car in the winter, it's just full of like my snowboard and my skates and my cross country skis and my snowshoes and whatnot. So yeah, definitely an adjustment when it came to pregnancy because of some things. Like I wasn't going to jump on my snowboard, but still, it was a journey trying to find still ways to be active, and during that journey as well.
Any big thoughts when you first found out you were pregnant? Like, were there any, I don't know, just thoughts, feelings, anything?
I would say like I had heard a lot of just like in the general like conversations about being pregnant. I had heard like you shouldn't exercise, you shouldn't run when you're pregnant. But I was kind of like, I'm already an active person. So it was something that I had a lot of questions about, sort of like the safety of it and whether or not I was going to be able to keep going. I had this like gut feeling like that was going to be okay, but I definitely had heard in my life people say like, no, you shouldn't. So that was kind of like, I think I felt a little bit worried about it because it was exercise is such a big part of my life, and it makes me feel so good. And I think I was just a little bit worried that I was going to have to give that up, on top of all the other things like soft cheese, a nice cold glass of wine in the summer. Yeah.
I'm curious, just the way you're describing that, do you think that messaging has anything to do with how historical messaging around women and fitness was designed, where like 50 years ago it was discouraged for women to actually lift weights because that wouldn't be good for you. It's not healthy.
For sure.
And just the lack of research that's gone into it, right? They're only now starting to do a lot of good research. What is it? University of Alberta has some really good research coming out around strength training and how beneficial that is for women when they're pregnant. So yeah, it's starting to come. Messaging is starting to shift.
Yeah.
But we still have a long way to go.
I think about, I'll name drop her, but Jen Carr, who I remember her telling me this story. She had bought like the stroller for Maeve, and like a Black Friday sale. And like 2 weeks later, she went to go pick it up. And there was this person working at a local store, who was like an elderly, like senior female, and was hell bent that she was going to carry this giant box stroller and put it into Jen's car. And Jen's like, I got it. No, you won't carry this. You won't carry this. And Jen's like, well, I work out. I actually can. Like, this is not that bad. She's like, I had to stand there and watch this somewhat like feeble woman put this giant box stroller. And she's like, I could have done it in 3 seconds and no problem. Yeah. So, okay. Next question, I guess, would be, did anyone ever tell you that you shouldn't strength train? Are there any like stories, even like family members, doctors? I don't know. Any?
I think my parents were definitely like skeptical. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
They would come over and I would pick up a chair and they're like, "Oh no, I'll do that." And it's like, I lifted more at the gym.
Exactly. Yeah. I have a video of you doing like the deadlift and like snatch overhead with like crazy heavy barbell while Sadie's about to come out.
a little extra.
Yeah.
A little extra clean and jerk action. Yeah. So definitely a little bit of that. I had heard, not quite as skeptical, but just the messaging that I had received from doctors and whatnot is you just don't want to start anything that you weren't already used to. Right. So if weightlifting, running was part of your daily routine before, it still should be okay because your body is used to it. You're just listening to your body and kind of going from there. You're not going to take up water polo in your first trimester if you've never done that before. But so that was kind of, that made me feel better that I could lean on that and go from there. So
sorry, do you have
Yeah, I was pretty, and this is kind of like advice too I would give to other people is like because there was so much mixed messaging online, and like Shelby said, all the research about exercising while you're pregnant is pretty new actually. Um, and so it was important to me that I checked in like with my doctor and my OB. Um, and I was really fortunate because both of them were really supportive. I'll never forget. Well, because you don't actually go to see if you choose to have an OBGYN, you don't go to see them until you're into the second trimester. So my family doctor, who I was seeing in the very, very beginning, is a young guy. And so I wasn't really sure what he was going to say. His immediate response when I asked him if I should keep exercising was, that his sister had played hockey until her hockey pants wouldn't do up a big belly anymore, and she was totally fine. So was the baby.
Perfect. Say no more.
So, I mean, that was really, really great to receive that support. And their advice was basically just listen to your body, and if it doesn't feel good, then stop, modify, but you should be okay to keep going right to the end. I think both of them thought I would stop long before I did. Yeah, so my OB especially, it was like the middle of August and I was 8 months pregnant, and she was like, "You're still going
At 5 a.m.
I was like, "I'm not sleeping." So like,
Yeah,
what else am I
might as well. Yeah, yeah. So did your workouts change here or in general, like outside?
Okay, elbows off the table.
Like just get into it. How did they change during pregnancy? And then an extension to that is we can talk about like certain modifications. I'm going to point over here, not that the camera's going to go over there, but like the hamstring curls. Neither of you relatively early on felt comfortable like laying on a hamstring curl machine with like you're just laying on your stomach. I guess that's something that goes pretty fast when pregnant in general.
Yeah, for sure. So I had a relatively smooth pregnancy, but my first trimester was off to a rocky start. So I had what they call, I'm going to butcher this, but erythmus nodosum. So basically my body overreacted to the progesterone coming into my body, and I had a mini, like it essentially was like attacking itself. So if you looked at my legs, I looked like someone took a baseball bat all the way down my shins, and really painful, and my hips were seized like every morning until 10 a.m. So it was a little rocky in the start actually coming to the gym. I think I missed quite a few classes, but what I actually found was the only way to get over it and for it to actually provide me with some comfort was to get up and move. So once I kind of figured that out, coming to the gym was really nice because I would rather take the time here at the 5 a.m. classes, kind of getting my sea legs under me than going to work and not being able to walk up a flight of stairs when I got to work.
Yeah.
So the movement was actually, motion is lotion for your joints, I guess they say. So it was really great that way to have that time and space. That was, it also trying to hide that I was still pregnant. Way that are way lighter as I'm trying to get my body moving, but happy to move that way. And then that only lasted a short period of time. And then I remember, I think that's that exercise that the girls were laughing that they could see the first trimester leaving my body.
100%. Both of you, I can picture you would come in the first trimester and like you just looked like drained, tired. Yes, you were ready to barf at any moment, and then soon as second trimester hit, it's like, oh, there they are.
Yeah, so that was a really fun transition, actually feeling back like our old selves again for those workouts. And then, like towards the end, just subtle modifications.
Yeah, like we were still lifting really similar to what we would have been
For
lifting
sure.
before, I would say,
Yeah.
up until pretty far into.
Yeah, I think core modifications too, but again, like something that's really great because you guys have been coming for so long when it comes to core things in the moment. Okay, if you're not doing like whatever form of plank, you knew exactly what you could modify with in the moment. Like,
Yeah. Shelby and I were also both really lucky because we saw a local pelvic floor
we're
physiotherapist.
going to shout her out entirely. Go for it.
Anita Lambert. Her business is called Holistic Health Physiotherapy. She is amazing. If you are local and pregnant or postpartum, even if you're 14 years postpartum and
Thought you were gonna say 14 years old.
no, like if you have older kids but you're still struggling with things that you feel like were from pregnancy, she absolutely is there to help you. And she was so supportive of us continuing to strength train. She actually was one of the first ones who had like lots of research, current research, to tell me like, yes, absolutely do it. My doctors they were good, but they clearly hadn't actually like done deep dives into what was going on.
It's important to recognize with doctors, like they need to know about
So
a lot
much.
of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's
For
hard
sure.
to be an expert in everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's good.
Which
that
is why
people
there's great
find
people,
that
yes,
specialist.
Specialist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she was great too because she would give us exercises to do and lots of mobility stuff,
Yes.
especially like
Yeah.
because I had some joint stuff too. Just your body produces this hormone called relaxin, and all of your joints relax to accommodate a whole other human inside of you. And so that does make it, sometimes you'd be lifting something and be like, oh, like just doesn't feel as tight as it
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
So that was nice because when we were doing core stuff, if ever I was like, oh, this actually doesn't feel good anymore, I would just throw in something that Anita had given me, which was really great.
Yeah. For sure.
And Anita also, if you're not local, like Allie said, she has a really great podcast, To Birth and Beyond too. So there you go.
And a video series too,
Nice.
I believe.
Nice. Yeah. Was there ever a point that you felt judged again by anyone, family, friends, healthcare providers, anyone, that you ever felt judged for like sticking with gym and sticking with strength training?
I think for sure there is, and it's interesting that Jen had this experience. There's definitely, for so long, there was a belief that it was not safe to lift anything when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Bend
Yeah.
over when
Yeah.
you're pregnant. So I would say just like generally I would get that feeling from older
Yeah,
people
for sure.
when they found out that I was still coming to the gym. But for the most part, I felt pretty supported. I got a lot of kind of amazed response, which is pretty funny. But even I remember packing up my classroom, my teacher, and at the end of the year in June, packing up my classroom. At that point, I was quite pregnant. And so many people wanting to help me and being like, no, like I will absolutely ask. Now I'm a pretty independent person, but I will ask if I
Right.
need help.
Yeah.
And like most of this stuff is not heavier than lifting in the morning at the gym. So
for sure. Yeah, I think no judgment. Like it was very super supportive. I don't know. I was just having some rib issues by the end there because I was running out of room. I'm quite a petite person, as is Allie. There's only so much space in your believer.
Yeah, if you can see the video, I look like a man.
So yeah, I think just at work, I just had to use a stand-up desk a lot because sitting down there just was not a lot of room to
Yeah.
sit, and driving was a little bit uncomfortable. So just like people genuinely trying to help that way.
Mhm.
I remember somebody at work, one of the IT guys was like bringing me a padded thing to stand on at work and
Oh yeah.
making all kind of little modifications for me, but no judgment, which was good.
Good. That's good.
Mhm.
Do you have any questions? I feel like I was on the table again. Do you have any questions?
I think it's something that is jumping out at me, and it's kind of just slapping me in the face as a guy. Is
Get out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. is that like, and I don't know where this comes from, but there's that feeling of when a woman is pregnant, she's somehow damaged or broken and needs to be taken care of.
Mhm.
And
Really
it
fragile.
Really fragile. And hearing both of you talk about how strength training was so helpful for you and how, you were lifting similar weights to where before you were pregnant, like it really kind of makes me think that that's just a myth. That it's not true, that you're not in any way more fragile and that you can still do all the things.
Especially when you've been so active even before pregnancy. I think that's, like you said, if someone is inactive and then gets pregnant and decides that they're going to take up soccer or water polo, like that could be a little more dangerous.
I do think too, there are lots of different circumstances and things come up for people in pregnancy that are complicated and make it so that you can't do the same level of physical activity as you did previously. Like I know I was pretty lucky. I didn't actually ever get that sick. Like I was definitely really tired in the first trimester, but that time actually was the hardest for me. I did feel like I needed someone to take care of me. I was not able to eat what I normally was eating because it just was so unappealing. And so that kind of threw everything off. My diet had changed and I wasn't sleeping. I was tired all the time. So that was challenging, but I do think, I know I had this conversation, I think with Anita, the physiotherapist, that I like being strong going into pregnancy and then keeping that up through pregnancy really helped me carry a baby. And so when people ask me about it, I say like, pregnancy is a marathon. It's really, really hard on your body. It's hard on your mind. And so I do think one of the very best things that I did, I don't know how you feel about it, Shelby,
Absolutely.
but was to train for it. I wasn't necessarily intentionally doing that, but my body was very much ready to do it because I think of how much time I had spent here.
And I imagine during pregnancy having that little bit of normalcy too, right? Like that routine when.
Yeah, and I think like if I think about people that don't strength train, often there is a level of just sedentary pain that's involved.
Right.
For sure.
And I can imagine hearing both of your stories and how there were challenges early on for both of you in different ways, but that first trimester, it seems to be hard for most women. Going through that and also struggling with like daily pain because your body isn't in a good fit state. Like I can imagine that making that even more difficult and just wanting to just be even more sedentary, and that feeding into that sort of damaged, broken, needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Can't fend for self sort of thing. And
new territory for some people too. Like first babies, you can read about what to expect, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be what actually happens.
yeah, for sure. I'm curious, like in that first trimester, were there times when you had thoughts like, I can't do this? And was there like a reminder of how in the gym, sometimes you're getting ready to lift a weight and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. But there's that similarity and you were just like, I do these hard things all the time. I can keep going.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, like Allie and I are both self-proclaimed type 2 queens that we love doing things that are awful during, and when you think back, they're fun, like camping and adventure racing and whatnot. So I think, the gym can be that mindset too of when you're in it, it doesn't necessarily feel like the best thing, but when you leave the gym, you feel great afterwards. And I think that's kind of what kept pushing along is this is not forever. Second trimester's coming, and it was the countdown to as the weeks went on, just to help get you through. But it's hard. Like when you're in it did feel at some points like this was never going to end, and it's going to keep going on and on. But.
Yeah. Like in boot camp, I can do anything hard for 45 seconds, and it was like I can do anything hard for 3 months.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps telling me, and it did get better. I know for some people it doesn't always get easier after the first trimester, but
I'm curious if those people do strength training.
Yeah.
I like, you're right. There's not a lot of research that exists, but I would imagine a lot of the research that does suggests that if you're strength training before you become pregnant and during, more than likely your pregnancy is easier.
Yeah. I'm really curious about that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're going to switch into like during labor, and you don't have to share, please, the gory details if there
However,
are
just to
any.
let you know, you're not going to freak me out. I have a nursing background.
And we're not having children, so you can't
I'm not going to scare her.
change our mind or scare us. So in terms of being active before and during, did that prepare you for like labor and delivery? Like
Okay.
Go.
I'm gonna go first because you are. We're gonna bow down to you in a second. But yeah, so I think I remember texting you after, telling you after that. So my pregnancy, we made the birth plan, and every single thing right down to the very end went out the window. Like I said, I went 2.5 weeks early. My water broke 3 times during labor, which was wild. And yeah, basically we checked into the hospital for a wellness check, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not going home. You're staying here." And we did the whole thing at the hospital. So that was wild. But during the actual labor itself, and we had the baby, like I remember texting you after saying, "I'm so glad I do so many bicep curls because just like holding my own leg, like it felt like I did, like my arms were dead.
ISO hold for hour. For hour.
Yeah, it was wild. So I could not imagine if you were not used to that kind of pain afterwards, or like of a really good tiring workout. I can't imagine just them giving you this baby and you feeling that way and expecting to actually hold a baby and carry on your merry way with it if you're not used to that discomfort, because it was a lot of more muscle strain than I thought it would feel like afterwards.
Yeah. I love talking about birth. I was really, really lucky. I had an amazing, amazing experience. Part of that, another person I'd like to shout out is my doula, Brittany Goodfellow, was incredible, and Andrea Paul. But I would say coming to the gym and strength training absolutely prepared me, actually more than I anticipated going into that experience. Birth is like wild, the most badass thing I think anyone can do. And it is equal parts physical and mental. I went into it wanting to have an unmedicated birth, and I succeeded in that. But I would say there was many times throughout the 13, 14-hour long actual process of getting the baby out of my body that it is so intense physically and mentally. And in the same way, to definitely a lesser extent, but in the same way it is when you are at the gym and you're really pushing yourself to your limit, and look over at the timer and there's 10 more seconds and you're like, okay, I'm going to try to get 3 more reps in, like that. It is a very similar thing. And I think training in that way, and then also having someone be like, okay, like Allie, we can see on the monitor, like this contraction is starting to end, like knowing that it's going to end in the same way did really help me a lot. I also had like a lot of really nice compliments from nurses at the hospital saying that my breathing was the most controlled breathing they'd ever seen in any woman in labor. And I mean, I have practiced yoga in the past, but I also think I do really consciously think about my breath here.
One of the few.
And I think that practice, being really mindful about not only what your body is doing, but also what your breath is doing and what your brain is doing, that all really, really prepared me. And I was doing it 3 times a week for my plus a little bit of extra stuff that I was doing at home, but mostly at the gym, 3 hours a week for an hour. Like that alone, I think probably would have been, I mean, it would have been better than nothing, but yeah, I absolutely think that it was really, really helpful to me.
I think that was the one surprise, was I was ready to, because like doing all these exercises, we were still pretty flexible in how we could move our bodies, considering
think about like the leg press. You just had to be a little wider. I'm like,
so that was one thing I was almost excited going into it. I remember talking to Anita, and if you know me, my natural habitat stance is in like the lowest spot possible. Like when I'm camping, I don't stand up ever. I'm just so I showed Anita, I'm like, could I give birth this way? And it's like basically my bum's on the ground and my feet, like I'm just squatting like a little gnome. And she's like, yeah, you totally could. That would be a great position. Unfortunately, what I didn't anticipate was we had complications, and Sadie's heart rate kept dropping, so I had to be stationary in one position for 4 hours to keep her heart stable. But I think it is nice to have those options, right? Like you said, you were able to, I think you found a position that you liked during labor, but
I would say I could have prepared for that part as much as I wanted. And at the end of the day, like your body is just going to
Yeah.
tell you what it wants. And I was really in one spot for a really long time on my hands and knees. But again, if my arms hadn't been as strong as they were, I would not have been able to hold that position on my arms and my knees for as long as I did. So
Holding almost like a knee plank for.
yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds awful.
I think there might be a Guinness World Record. Do you have anything? Okay.
I can't comment on this.
Neither. So then kind of switching gears to postpartum, you went to a hospital without a baby. You come home with a baby. So can you both talk about once you were home, the recovery? When did you want to move your body again versus when could you tell that your body was ready and kind of that process? Because I think something that I want to shout out for both of you is I hate the bounce back. We've had a podcast about how you don't have to bounce back. Like it's not about that, but how fast you guys came back to the gym. Like it's really friggin' inspiring.
So I think Anita and I and Allie and Anita, like we had a lot of great conversations about you have to go slow to go fast in those initial early weeks.
Like a marathon.
Right.
Or like recovering from injury or
Like,
surgery.
right.
Yeah.
So that is a huge injury.
Yeah, sure.
Basically.
That's
Yeah.
the other. That's the other thing is, my husband had knee surgery a month and a half before I had went to labor. So we had almost like a dry run of one of us being down and out. We had like already done all the meal preps ahead of time for him because we knew that I was also going to be, 7 months pregnant and not wanting to cook a bunch of meals and whatnot. So it was nice that we had a dry run with him. Different experience, but still kind of like one of us directly taking care of the other. And then came home and switched roles when I had the baby. But with Anita, like the exercise, like we had exercises at the beginning, but they're very subtle. It's a lot of like breath work and making sure, because you have to remember all your organs have moved everywhere in your body, and your ribs have, like, everything is splayed, and
the thing that was keeping them in that place is now gone. So it's really quite a weird feeling.
Yeah. So I think like the initial exercises that we were doing, it was a lot of like 360 breath work, and actually, can you take a breath and actually feel your parts of your body again? We both used a belly band after to try to like just have some compression, which was really nice. And then slow movements, right? So we did a lot of breath work, like Ali said at the beginning, that was like picking about Kegels, like picking up your blueberries and whatnot. So it was those that we were focusing on first, and then not unless my mom's listening to this and takes me couch shopping when I was 5 days postpartum, but that's
Yeah, really short walks, and not until I think the end of the first week. It's funny, Kate, you said like when did you want to start moving in? And I wanted to start moving immediately.
I knew that would be the answer.
I wanted to start moving immediately, and I knew that about myself going into it. So I actually had told both my mom and my husband, who were around a lot in the very early days, like, I need you to tell me to sit down.
Strap her into the couch.
Yeah. Just like bring me things and don't let me do that. And they were both very good about that. I had been told that it would be the Peterborough Regional Health Center is a pretty gigantic building, and the pediatric clinic that you take the baby to kind of immediately after they let you out, you have to go back. It's a pretty long way. It's on the 6th floor. And so I had been told, like, get Eric to push you in a wheelchair. And I remember, like, one of the doctors saw me in the wheelchair and was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I don't want to put any extra pressure on my pelvic floor.
Yeah.
And so I was I would say, even though I wanted to move, I was pretty good about it. And I'm really glad that I was, because I was then up and walking and moving around a lot more pretty quickly afterwards. But definitely something that had to make a conscious effort to do.
And kudos to you guys for actually doing the work at home too. It's like a lot like an injury. You go to physio, they give you things to do at home, and I would say 9 times out of 10, people don't do them and they wonder why their recovery is more challenging or if things are never the same again. You guys are doing the work.
So one thing with that I will talk to, like we talked about habit stacking. So the habit stacking with those is, you know, a lot of the times when we were able to start doing little spots or whatnot, like when you're changing the diaper, like then you're doing something while you're there, or just trying to, like, you know, you're going to be doing these routine things all the time with a baby every 2 hours, 3 hours. So just habit stack and kind of do a little bit of physio here and there, because you're not going to have time to go set out an hour
Exactly.
to do all of your exercises, right? So just consistency over the course of every day, I think is what needed to happen for it to follow through it.
So when you came back to the gym, was it different? Did it feel different? Is there anything that you kind of want to point out about that?
Yeah, so I came back, I was about 4 months postpartum, I think, because I came back in February. And I was so excited. But I also was really wanted to be like conscious and mindful and not go too hard. I had gotten the okay. I talked to all my healthcare providers and they'd all given me the thumbs up. And I had been walking a ton and doing some like little body weight things at home, like lunges and squats, like Shelby said, that were good. And so I felt like I was ready. I would say by and large, it was pretty much kind of back to maybe slightly lighter weights, because again, like I had not been to the gym lifting weights in 4 months. Yeah. So if you imagine what would happen if you just stopped to come back, you do have to kind of go backwards a little bit. But really the only thing that I was modifying more than just slightly lighter weights was ab exercises. And it just felt really different. Everything else felt great, but I could feel that there was a lot of work that I was going to have to do to kind of repair and recover my core. And then I was being really mindful that when I was lifting heavy things, you know, your core is supporting so much. So I was then extra mindful of lifting a bit lighter because I knew that my core was not as strong as it had been.
Yeah. I was talking to Josh before we came to the gym to do this recording about how when it came to you guys coming back and like modifying, I joked with Josh and like, we're currently dealing with a shoulder thing for Allie, and that's like feels like a little bit more and harder to navigate at the moment than the pregnancy and the postpartum put together.
Yeah, I think I was very excited to come back as well. My body felt, I got okay from everything. I think my body felt like it was ready before I actually came back. I think I came back about a month after you, which was, a similar time frame then, about 4 months postpartum. And I think I had the thoughts about how my body felt when I left to have the baby was how I thought I would feel when I came back. And I was surprised how much it felt like my old self right away.
Nice.
Which was great, which was really nice. Like I was very mindful that I was okay, I'm going to take it slow. And within the first class, I was like, oh, okay, I can find myself grabbing heavier.
Yeah.
It's like you said, not exactly like it was, but I was so pleasantly surprised. And I think that is a huge shout out because we took the time.
Yes.
We did it. We built all the foundation back up, and we were continuing to build the foundation as like what does it say? We were building the plane as we were flying. While during the pregnancy, we were doing all the pelvic physios so that it was just a smaller way for our body to be like, okay, this is what we're actually doing, and go back to it.
And you were greeted by literally the exact same faces when you came back to the gym. Anything from you, Josh?
I'm curious how you made it work, because like I said earlier,
that's the next thing on my list.
But like I said earlier, something that we hear
I want to make sure you kind of throw that out there.
Is like we don't have children, and so
people will say you don't even know. You don't know. You
don't get it. It's impossible to try and work out when you have children.
Yeah.
Well, you like 4 months after having child,
you're lacking sleep.
Yeah.
There's a baby attached to your boob all of the time.
How do you get away for an hour? And like, what made it okay to do that? Why is it important to you?
sure.
Shout out to the dads.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Absolutely.
the dads.
Yeah.
Really good, supportive dads.
I'm glad to hear that. That's a listen to this podcast. It is a drum that I beat.
Yes.
It takes
Yeah.
two people to make the child, and if the other person cannot be responsible enough to look after a kid for an hour, there's a fucking problem.
And the first F-bomb was dropped. This episode.
To like both Eric and I going into having a baby, it was like really important that we still maintain becoming parents. We were still going to maintain things that were just for us that we love to do. And he is in a band and loves playing music. And I was like, I'm going to prioritize that for you. I'm going to make sure that you have time to do that. I need you to prioritize me being able to go back to the gym. And he was so for it. He was so gung ho, and like he did not put a timeline on me at all. He was like, whenever you're ready, you just let me know. And so I would say, you know, logistically, the hardest part of it was feeding the baby. Was how are we going to make sure that if she wakes up and she's really hungry when I'm at the gym, we got to make sure she's got food. And Eric's got to feel good about navigating that, which I mean, he was at that point 4 months in. We both were on the same page, but yeah, that was kind of, especially once we got out of the sort of newborn bubble and we started to have more of a consistent schedule. I made sure that her schedule was going to accommodate me coming here at 5 a.m. I'm really lucky too. Shelby's going to talk, I think, a little bit about her different situation. My husband is also a teacher, so our time kind of in the morning and our morning routine, it worked out really well. 9 times, I have a great sleeping baby. I'm really lucky, but 9 times out of 10, I would wake up half an hour earlier, which is another thing. Like, absolutely, it did add a little bit of less sleep onto my night, but I'd wake up half an hour earlier, I'd feed her, I'd put her back to sleep, and then I would go get ready for the gym and come. And 9 times out of 10, she would sleep while Eric was there. And it was actually, it really didn't change very much for him. But even now, sometimes she'll hear me opening the fridge to get my yogurt out in the morning before I come. And Eric just goes in and comforts her, and then he goes back to bed, and it's totally fine. But I would say the reason I'm able to do it, it's partially logistic and thinking about how the time is going to work, but mostly it's just having that support person.
And who understands that you're, I think, going to and need to prioritize your goals. And I think that's probably going to head in nicely to what I assume that you're going to say about your schedule and navigating that.
For sure. Yeah. And Rob and I had that similar conversation, is like, what is going to make, like, for mental health as well, right? Like, you're going through so much with your hormones and everything else is changing during this time. And it's like, what is going to be something that makes you feel like you? And that is like keeping some consistency and going back to the gym. So before I had Sadie, I was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, normally 5 a.m.s. So that was about the thing that changed a little bit. We had to be more flexible because my husband works overnights, so he doesn't get off till 7 a.m. Most of the week. So we had to have that conversation about our schedules, what that looked like. So, you know, I'm still Fridays 5 a.m., but now I have an evening class as well. And just being flexible that way. And yeah, I think the feeding was the one logistical thing at the beginning. I mean, when they're that little, you're up a lot anyway. So I found like we were having a 3:30 feed, and then I was up a little bit later. You stay up because, you know, and then I just make sure that when she's napping, I'm going to nap. And I hate that nap when the baby naps, but it is what it's the best way to keep on top of your sleep, unfortunately.
And you have to do what you have to do. Like,
For sure.
I'm sure you would rather come all 5 a.m.s, but that's not realistic. So you make it work, and it's a priority, and that's important.
For sure. We both had winter babies too, which I feel like making that time and coming to the gym was a huge help.
Yeah.
Because you feel like the winter babies, you feel very isolated in your house, and you can't necessarily take them for walks. We did, because we're.
And now we have the 40-degree summer.
But yeah, just being able to prioritize and just being really flexible and good communication with your partner, I think was huge to make it happen.
This is like the first podcast where Josh has been like fairly quiet.
I mean, this isn't about me very much at all. I'm just asking some questions.
So then I want to kind of shift gears from strength training to the community here, because I can say it till the cows come home, but we have the best community, the best people here. Some of us were friends and colleagues beforehand, but not everyone. So, did the community here play a role in you sticking with it during pregnancy and coming back postpartum? Like, aside from the workouts and the importance of that, like, what about the people?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really neat because there's such a wide variety of people and all different fitness experiences and journeys here that it was really neat having working out alongside people that had had kids years before,
Yeah.
and
I feel like you also taught them a lot about pelvic floor.
their experience was so different just based on the research at the time, right? Like pelvic floor wasn't necessarily a thing until afterwards when you're having leakage issues
Yeah.
that you see at pelvic floor, right? So us talking and having those conversations with people, and not to mention just them being so proud that we were back.
Yes.
And having a bunch of mamas looking out for us too was really, really a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So
Huge. I really, that was probably the thing I was most excited for coming back.
Yeah.
Was I had been home in my little bubble kind of for 4 months with just really my family, and so to have like a social engagement
Yes.
on
Yes.
a schedule
Yep.
3 days a week with people who I knew, who I had good relationship with.
Yeah.
Was so good. And like Kate still sometimes will like look out the window of the gym and I'm out there chatting with somebody like halfway through the 6 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. The next one. Yeah.
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 And so that was so amazing. And yeah, like when you feel horrific in the beginning, in the early days, just like coming and seeing friendly, kind faces, even before people actually knew, that was like helpful to me mentally. And so many of the girls who we work out with at 5am are already moms. And so that also felt really, really good, was that it wasn't just this community of really supportive people, but it was also people who had a similar lived experience. Was really great. And like I have not ever had a gym routine that I have kept this consistent for this long. And I 100% attribute that to the people who are here,
Totally.
who hold me accountable and keep me coming back and just make the space.
I don't know what I'm gonna do if someone comes through the door and I'm like, oh, I don't know if we're your people. Like it hasn't happened yet. I don't know what that's
I
gonna
don't know. I think that people they find us because they're the
Yeah.
people that one want to belong, but also belong here. And I
Yeah.
think
For sure.
that like the space is so warm and inviting. It would be hard to find someone that would feel like they don't.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I think like I'm thinking about the postpartum stuff, and like I think we'd be kind of negligent if we didn't mention postpartum depression. And I truly believe there's a lot of factors that kind of fall into that, but I truly believe a big piece of it is when new moms feel like they've completely lost their routine, they've lost their sense of identity, they've lost who they are right after birth, like that creates that just floor falling out from under you feeling, and feeling like you're isolated and all alone. But when you have something that you know you're going to come back to, and it's warm, it's inviting, it feels like you,
For sure.
it creates that it's going to get better.
Absolutely. I would say, yeah, like it was definitely a godsend being able to come back when I did, because like they talk about that, a lot of families and friends, they're always, what can I do? Checking on the baby during that first couple of weeks because they want to see the baby. But that 3-4 month period is actually the hardest part, because as moms, you're going through like the hardest roller coaster of the emotions, of the hormones that are changing. And then that's kind of when, people historically take a step back because
Totally.
they think you're
Yeah,
handling
you're
it
good
okay.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people start struggling at that point, because if dad takes pat leave, that's when they're back at work, and you really start feeling that it's isolating and alone. In my case, our daughter also started going through some medical stuff at that point too, that we were trying to figure out. So it was like a really, really tough time. And I would say like the mental health piece was huge. So also serendipitously, like being able to come back to the gym at that was like that little bit of light just to come back and be part of a supportive community. And
Especially when it was minus 35 outside.
Yeah.
You were
yeah, yeah, it just was a positive disruptor to your day. I'm mat leave. When the babies are young, can feel a lot like Groundhog Day. It's just the same routine over and over and over again. So being able to come here and the music's blasting and it feels like you're in the club in university again and you see all your people, it really is helpful for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's really special for me and the group too to get to, like, I get the secret first, but then to see it all the way through, and then like the 4 months after it you just come back. Like, I think that's really special to be able to see that and see the journey. And babies, like when they come here, it's like you already know this place. You spent 9 months here. Don't worry. Yeah, that song, every day.
That voice poorly singing that song.
We have to aggressively squat on the sleeve.
Had Sadie, I remember messaging her and being like, I think we've created monsters, and I was bouncing on my exercise and bounce prior to sleep. I'm like, she won't fall asleep unless she's in like vigorous motion.
We're going to have active children, not vigorous motion. But so something else that I think is interesting is, when you go through those really difficult moments and you have the community behind you, you have other moms, like you've said, that probably have experienced similar things. So you have people that you can talk to that can say, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to work out.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be fine. And it's just reassuring knowing that you're not alone through all of it, right? Like, you've got each other, but you've also got so much more.
And sometimes I think it's you saying that is making me think. So when it comes to a boot camp, sometimes they would just be described as chaotic. Yes, there is, of course, time to talk, but there may not be enough time to talk about like those specific things that you're navigating. But I think just being here and being around those people, even if you're not directly saying, okay, here's exactly what I'm dealing with, can you talk about it? Like, can we talk about it? Just being here and knowing that these people have experienced similar things or not. I have not experienced that, but I hope that my ugly mug is something that gets you through too. So do you have any more questions? So something that we like to do on every podcast is one, ask and answer like the tough questions and the like real life questions. We also do not, I feel like this should have been a disclaimer at the beginning. We are not doctors. We are not medical professionals. So we would never, how do I say it?
We're not going to tell you to do something your doctor tells you not.
Yes. Always seek medical advice. We always want to give like just the real life experiences. So the extension to that is we always like to give a tool or something to take away from every episode. So I have a whole bunch of questions, and then we have like our wrap up questions. Yes, which we've not prepared you for. So if a woman just found out she was pregnant and is feeling afraid to keep moving, strength training, doing things that they already do, what is something that you guys would want her to hear? Seek medical advice.
First, I would say go down. But that it's the right thing to do. I think probably there is actually fewer exceptions to that than what some people might think. But obviously, if you're an exception, don't keep going. But I think it is really one of the very best decisions I made for myself, my baby, for my relationship. I really, I would say you got this for sure.
and reach out, right? There's those medical professionals beyond just your GP too. Like
experts.
Yeah, we've talked about Anita, but like I will go down and saying that like Peterborough is, my doctor said this, Peterborough is like the best town in Ontario to have a baby because we have so many incredible between the hospital and just different professionals in the community, whether it's like Pipsy or the midwives or the hospital through there. Like there's so many different,
lots of pre and postnatal care options.
Sure.
Especially for people who want to be active. For sure.
And
So-
it's the moms group that Kate's in.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
these two were part of Mommy Connection.
Connections
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're questioning it and you're the type like I know like I the research based or just I need someone else just to that has more knowledge than me to give me that check, like we definitely have professionals that you can check in with, and so that you can feel comfortable going in that direction as well.
Yeah. Is there anything that you wish someone told you about postpartum fitness that you wish you had have known before going through it?
Just that it's gonna be awesome, right? Like
Nice.
it was nice experiencing it myself, but
Yeah.
I feel like other than like Jen was a couple weeks ahead of us in that journey, but
Yeah.
I feel like we were kind of navigating it our own. Like I hadn't been working out with anybody else that was pregnant like that before,
Mhm.
so yeah, I'm excited.
The going joke is I don't know what's in the water at 5
Yes.
a.m., but it feels like there's always someone who's pregnant at 5 a.m.
For sure.
Hopefully, you're not holding any current secrets, Kate.
No, the gender reveal was yesterday for that one.
It's been really, I have felt really grateful that I got pregnant and went through this whole journey and asked all these questions and did all this stuff, because now it does feel like I have so many friends at the gym, also outside of the gym in various different places, who watched me in Kate's Instagram story, like at work, FaceTime, continue to keep strength training and doing lots of physical activity my entire pregnancy, and then pretty quickly after I had the baby. And people have said to me, like, that was really inspiring. That really made me think, like, I can do that. And Allie did it, and talk to your doctor, but
Yeah.
I do think you can, and I would absolutely recommend that you
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
Fun question time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pregnancy cravings. Wildest ones.
I didn't have any wild ones.
Oh,
but
Shelby, come on.
More pickles and peanut butter?
no wild ones, but it was more like aversions were really bad at the beginning, like everything that I didn't want.
Oh.
We cleaned out that fridge so many times thinking there was something in there and it wasn't, and I was nauseous way longer.
Oh.
Turns out there was a clove of garlic in there in the fridge door, and every time I open it,
Oh.
peanut butter on everything, like
Okay.
Tostitos and peanut butter towards the end, dipping Tostitos in peanut butter.
Yeah, if you try that, that actually
all-
Yeah,
sounds
actually,
good.
you might be into that. Yeah.
Shelby also did once send me a picture of like just a bowl of like candy salad. I exclusively ate brown food for the first entire 3 months. Like, I actually have like pictures of my camera roll of like food I was eating, and all of it's just shades of brown and
Like
beige.
fried
Um,
foods or like whole
Yeah,
wheat foods?
bread,
Okay.
a lot of carbs.
Josh is like fried chicken wings, right?
French onion soup, like lots of cheese. But there was like a long, like probably 3 or 4 weeks where I wanted sweet and salty, like melon and feta cheese and olives, like Kalamata olives.
Okay.
I probably
That's
ate
more up my alley, Josh. Like,
Yeah.
that's disgusting. You think that's good?
a lot of that. Like, I would make a giant container of it and then just like sit and like
Mhm.
shovel it.
Eric says nothing.
Yeah.
Guy, you just keep your minutes, Jack. Okay, I'm gonna go to
Do
the
you see
store.
Was there an exercise that you missed the most while you're away from here at the gym?
It's not my favorite, but like I think the leg press, anything that I could lay on my belly.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
just wanted
Yeah.
to lay down on my
Give me some
stomach.
hamstring curls.
I like, deep down really love burpee, and like Kate actually
Oh, you're gonna like the next question.
laughing the other day about how she like has pretty vivid memories of me like with a full belly, like still doing posy ball. Like I did miss that when I couldn't do it anymore. I was happy to be able to do it again.
Yeah. Or anything with it was also funny doing things with the medicine balls. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, look at this in my belly.
Inside. Outside. Okay. So then, an exercise that you didn't miss whatsoever. I was thinking it was going to be burpees. So. Parking lot sprints.
No, I ran too. Like I remember someone saying one morning, like, "Allie, I can't believe you're still running that fast." any exercises that I absolutely
It's walking lunges. That's like the bane of my
lunges.
bane of
I
my
don't
existence.
love
Bulgarian split squats.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I don't want to do them now.
Yeah, even never.
landmines. I don't like landmines, so I probably didn't miss that very much. But.
Yep.
Kind of answered the one.
Yeah, it was burpees at 8 months pregnant. Hell yes or hard no? Yes. Hell yes.
Hard no.
No, I do think at that point probably my belly like would have touched the ground.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like if we did the jumping the jacks with it with our feet. It
Oh,
was like
yes.
one tap.
The best piece of unsolicited advice that you got that you didn't ask for.
Oh, do you see this picture of a woman breastfeeding in a field? This is not what it's gonna be.
There is going to be a time when your baby's going to go to sleep and you're going to feel like you and your husband want to watch a movie at night. Do not listen to that urge because then, like, yeah, go to bed,
Go to sleep.
Just go to sleep every night. Even if you have time, like you'll be able to catch up with him later, but
Yeah.
get your sleep.
Yeah. So any like the worst piece of unsolicited advice? You guys
Stop,
I feel,
stop exercising.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna lift the stroller for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we need Jen Carr on for that one.
For sure. Unsolicited advice. I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like knowing you guys, any piece of it, like the worst piece of advice, you would just so quickly put out of your head anyway
Yeah.
that it wouldn't even be a
Yeah.
second thought.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Move on.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Okay, last one. Fill in the blank. I feel strongest when you're carrying your groceries in the house.
I don't know. Like, can we
Remember
talk
that
about
strong?
obesity?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say strong is like a relative term. It can be
I was gonna say so.
strong or like
Allie and I just did the adventure race, and we felt
Yes.
pretty badass doing that.
yes.
Yeah, that was pretty wild doing that one. Just it was kind of like when we were pregnant, like, hey, we should sign up for this, and it was like,
Sure, hope we
that's
feel good.
that's fun. But, maybe we'll see how we are. And as it came up, we were kind of in denial about it, but it felt pretty badass doing that.
I would say I feel strongest when I am in the middle of something and I feel like I can't do it, and then I get to the end of it and I have done it.
Like your
So-
wall ball challenge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
yes.
working through something after having the thought of I want to stop, I can't do it.
For sure.
Whether that's at the gym or at home. Or in the forest getting lost.
It's that
mud.
Yeah, it's the type, or like even when you go for a run, it's the type 2 afterwards when you get that little rush
Yeah.
of endorphins after, when you're like, oh yeah, that's why they get you to sign up for more races.
Yes,
after you finish
the
race.
dopamine hit.
Yeah, yeah. That's when you feel, when you can look back and say, like, look at that thing that I just did. That's
Yeah.
pretty badass.
Yeah.
I think something that has been a theme throughout this episode of the podcast, but just listening to both of you talk, you make this all seem so easy and effortless, when the reality is all of this is so fucking hard.
Oh yeah.
And it
100%.
takes so much dedication, it takes so much
Yeah.
willpower, it takes
Yeah.
so much commitment, and you give that to yourselves. And like, I'm sure you have lots of people in your life that give you pats on the back and say great job, but like, honestly,
Yeah.
it's super
You literally did that.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you are doing some of the hardest work and showing how making yourself a priority and doing the things that you know are helpful to you
Yeah.
really just makes you mentally well, makes
Yeah.
you well in your
Yeah.
body. It makes you strong in so many ways, not just the physical
Yeah.
strong. And it's
And know that you're
amazing.
inspiring
yeah.
a hell of a lot of people here online. You're inspiring your daughters, you're inspiring
Yeah.
your husbands, all of that. Like,
Yeah.
And I think I actually, like, a few people have said to me about various things in pregnancy and postpartum that I make it look easy, and I actually hate that.
yeah.
yeah, yes. Yes.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work all the time. And I think I, as a person, am pretty filled with joy, and my like default is a smile. But I never for a second want people to think that it has been easy. And I'm so open and willing to talking to people going through a similar experience who are having a hard time, and we'll be the first one to like get right in that hole with you and be like, hey, I felt like that, and whether you saw it or not, it was really hard. Like, do you want to know what I did to get out of that? Because there was things that worked really, really well for me. But also there is a certain level of just like letting yourself feel those feelings.
Be in the mess.
Yeah. Knowing that you have these places and these communities and these people and these things that make you feel good that you are able to do.
Yeah. The
to
normal when things aren't normal.
Exactly.
And I think that's the biggest lesson that I keep learning over and over again is like the duality of motherhood. It's like this can be shit and amazing at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's friggin' hard, but then you have these glimmers all throughout your day. And I think like the more we can be frank and open with your communities and your people and being like, yeah, like I'm in it right now and I need some help. But I'm not like I'm so grateful for this.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think there's a lot of people that feel like if they are open and honest without actually how they're feeling, it comes across as being ungrateful, especially if your journey was a bit of a struggle to get to having a child. But two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think I say that on the podcast all the time. Two things can be true at the same time, and they can be opposites and both be true.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is there anything else that you guys want to throw out there, talk about? Anything you feel like we missed?
Just that I'm grateful to be co-momming with Allie.
Yes. Yes. So true. So true. Yeah. Anything you want to throw out there?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
Again, thanks for coming and talking and sharing your story with
Yeah.
us.
Having us.
Listen,
Thank you.
and,
Yeah.
we always find that a lot more people tune in and listen when we have guests on the
Yeah.
show. So
They get sick of us.
there will be lots of people that hear this and hear your story, and
Yeah.
hopefully it inspires just one person. That's all. When I think about the work that I do, all I want to do is help one person, and if I help one person, it feels
good.
like a reward.
Yeah. I can relate to that too. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We always have to do our we
Like and
appreciate
subscribe.
like and subscribe. We appreciate all the reviews. If you ever have questions, topics that you would like us to cover, never hesitate to reach out. Reminder about our new virtual platform called the KLT Fit Collective. It is an entirely virtual program that is really great for any phase of life, I would say. But yeah, I think the takeaway from this one is like, find your people, find your community, lean on them. A reminder that you can do the really fucking hard things and grab
It's
onto
worthwhile.
and grab onto that little bit of normalcy if things are feeling abnormal. Also find the people who care. Another thing to write home about our community is we know our people. We know what's going on with them. Never is anyone just a number or that next membership. I think it's really powerful to be surrounded by people who give a shit.
Yeah.
And notice if you're not there, notice if you are there. All that in between. Okay, so thank you for being here on a hot Sunday afternoon when both of your babies are sleeping. Will they still be sleeping?
Probably not. Yeah.
Perfect.
Lucky guys.
Okay, we always do like high fives. Everyone. Okay.